There we go. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hi,
James and
guys.
Jessica here.
Hi.
Welcome to Sunday Funday. This is our weekly chat show. We just come in Sunday morning, hang out, chat for a little bit. We are running a sales show in a couple of hours this afternoon. I think I got it set for 1:30. So we're gonna go. What we're gonna do? We're gonna do our Funday Sunday. We're gonna hang out, chat for a little bit, and then we're gonna go over to our storage unit, and we're gonna sell out of the storage unit today.
And he's still drinking his coffee.
I'm always drinking my coffee. So, good
Yes.
morning. Hope everybody's doing fantastic this weekend.
Y'all, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate y'all coming in. If y'all got any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll try to ask it or answer as much as possible. I think the last time we went Sunday Funday, James, weren't we gonna go over shipping? Y'all have any shipping questions?
Yeah, I'm not a master of shipping, but I've learned a lot over the last 5 months about shipping.
Hi, Shorty.
I've had some comments that I wanted to address that some people have mentioned in other shows. Hey, Melissa. One of the things that I've mentioned before, and some people like get really. I think some people have a misunderstanding or a misidea of how business works, and there's a lot of people that think that if I sold $100 worth of stuff, I made $100. Um, and you know, and then we have to start looking at understanding all of our expenses and understanding our margins. Like we've sold quite a bit of stuff, but we've actually only sold this and that.
Hello.
We've only sold just a little under $5,000 worth of stuff since we've been on Whatnot. We started in Whatnot in June. Out of that 5,000, we've probably actually made about $800 in our pocket after all of our expenses are accounted for. Hey, Andrea, Unique Threads. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
So a lot of people that are just starting out, especially, need to understand that just because you sell stuff doesn't mean that's how much money you made. I mean, honestly, if you average it out with the hours that I've worked running our Whatnot shows, I've made less than minimum wage. I've probably made less than $5 an hour with all the hours I've put into this. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be profitable. And the thing is it gets better as you grow. Yeah, our last show, Melissa, we passed our 1,000 sales. We had passed it, and then something happened and it went back down. I don't know exactly what happened because I didn't have any refunds or anything, but it went back down. So when we did our last show, we needed like 4 sales to pass it.
We hit the mark,
and we did more than that. So, and
we're going to be selling today.
Friday, when we came in on Friday, we had our instant payout turned on. So, and that's the big thing about the 1,000 sales is 1,000 followers and 1,000 sales helps us to get instant payout. And that's why those are two big milestones everybody celebrates, is because we get features in the app unlocked when we hit those milestones. And it's really the last milestone that unlocks new features. There's other milestones. I mean, we see a lot of people that celebrate 10,000 and 20,000, and and it's great to have that.
And that. You'll get there.
How long the payouts? Okay, before you get instant payout, which is your 1,000 sales and 1,000 followers, before you get that unlocked, we have to ship items, and 72 hours after the items are delivered by the USPS is when we get paid. So if I run a sale, I have to ship everything, wait for it to ship, wait for it to get delivered, and then once it's delivered, I have to wait 72 hours, and then I get paid. And that's frustrating, and especially when you have different shipping times. You have some things take longer to ship than others. USPS, we had 2 hurricanes that came through and screwed up the USPS across the whole Midwest for months. And I have a package that I sent out the 5th of November that still has not been delivered. And it's showing in tracking. It's there, but we don't know what's going on with it. But I called the post office and they said, oh, well, you have to wait 45 days. Well, so we're finally hit the 45 days this week. So now I'm still trying to get the USPS to figure out where my package is. Yeah. I mean, I've sent out packages, like I said, I sent one out 5th of November that still hasn't been delivered. Luckily, it's only one. I've only had, since we started Whatnot and Joan, I've had 4 packages.
I will tell you, Shorty, he did send them out.
Vanished.
You're right. We are waiting on them on UPS. I think even the most recent one, he's already emailed out to you.
Well, and I've had some. I've had packages that were shipped. This and that. Congratulations. We're going to pull a random item for your giveaway. We've had packages that never got scanned into the tracking system. They were showing pending shipping or preparing package, and then they were delivered.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they need to get on that, don't you think? 2 days in Kansas? That's ridiculous. But, at the same time, I don't know how bombarded they are with all the postage with Christmas coming up.
Well, that's that. There's been slowdowns ever since the hurricanes went through Florida and the Southwest. It's things have been slow recently, and I've had
very slow.
I've had slow packages coming to me. I mean, I've had packages from people that I got from Florida that got here before the ones from people in Texas, and they shipped on the same day.
You're excited to get them? I can't even remember. I remember some of the stuff that you got, not everything. James knows more about that.
Well, my shipping is totally caught up. You should have gotten all of your previous sales. I think everything you've got now coming is from the last sale that we did earlier this week. The one on Thursday. Was it Wednesday or Thursday? And all of that shipped out the next morning. I had it all packed up that night before I went to bed. The blow mold's not there yet? Yeah, that one should have been delivered already because it said it was out for delivery.
I think that's the one she's talking about that's sitting there in Kansas. Yeah. Oh, yeah, those blow molds were nice. I almost didn't give them up, but then I was like,
You might get your other package before you get the blow molds the way USPS works.
Who knows? That'd be interesting. Well,
but it's once we give it to the USPS, we have absolutely no control over it.
Yeah, she said it wasn't you. She said it's been sitting in Kansas for 2 days. Yeah. I'd be on hey, UPS, bring me my package. I want it now. Am I going to get this before Christmas? I mean, come on.
I mean, we had one that we didn't sell here. I had one that I sold on YouTube back in August, and it completely disappeared. And I wound up having to refund their money. And now I'm having to deal an insurance claim with the USPS. This is why, even though I don't always send, and Whatnot does it for us, but like when I sell off of YouTube or off of Whatnot on other platforms or in person, I always insure my packages, which is why I send things with priority a lot of times because once you add the insurance, it's about the same price as priority anyway. A lot of people are like, "Oh, ground is cheaper." It's ground is cheaper if you're not insuring the package. But once you add insurance to the package, I always
want to make sure
insure my packages because I've had too many packages lost by the USPS, and that protects me because then I can refund their money and I can just deal with the USPS and get my money back.
And like we said, we want to make sure y'all get y'all's packages. So
I try. I'm not the best at shipping, but I try to ship within 1 or 2 days of my shows. Sometimes something happens and I get caught up in something else, or our daughter. One of the hard parts for me has been like we haven't been buying a lot of units lately, but sometimes if I run a show in the middle of cleaning out units, I'll be cleaning out those units because I'm on a deadline to get that done too. And then I'll do all my shipping once I get those units cleaned out.
Right.
And that puts me behind. sometimes.
Well, thank y'all. I'm sure James appreciates it because that's all James. I wish I could say that's me, but it's not.
I am the sourcing department. I am the shipping department. Jessica helps me bid on units, and she helps me on the shows every once in a while. But most of the rest of it's me.
Yeah, that's a James question. I can't answer that. How hard is it to get a refund from USPS?
It depends. I've had times. Unfortunately, as a reseller, if you're new to reselling, it's something you're going to have to deal with. With Whatnot, luckily, Whatnot handles all of that transaction for us. So we just put in the ticket to Whatnot. They'll refund us and the buyer, and then they'll deal with the USPS on it. Off of Whatnot, when I have to do it directly, like I sell through YouTube and I sell through private sales and through my own website, when I have to deal directly with the USPS, it can take a few days and it can take a few months.
Yeah, it's interesting. We did have
so one. I do notice if it's priority mail, it tends to go faster. I can get it within a couple of days. If it's, I put my own insurance on there, but it was a USPS ground, it can take weeks or months for them to stop dragging their feet and get me paid.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how hard you are.
But that's just part of doing business. That's part of the business that a lot of people don't talk about. That's one of the things I like doing these shows. I like talking about some of the things in the business that people don't talk about, because then newbies come in. I had no idea. I when I got into the business,
you do all the work.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that do, and it's harder this way. This is why. Also, I say don't compare yourself to other sellers and other channels.
The only reason I'm here today is because I actually have somebody who can relieve me to actually come in and join and say, hey, how's it going? That kind of stuff. You won't see me selling if I don't have a nurse or I don't have someone to take care of.
Yeah, because we have a disabled child. So if there's no nurse or there's nobody there with her, then in fact, one of us has to be there.
The 5-year-old was probably going to be over here in a little bit saying, Mom, I'm hungry. What are you going to feed me? Luckily, I already took care of that. Yeah. Yeah, well, we have got a lot that goes on.
We've got a 5-year-old. We have our 11-year-old who's permanently disabled. She was born with a brain malformation that
she's in a good mood.
She has cerebral palsy.
Hi, Emily.
And she's listening in the other room. So hi, but she's been a blessing. But at the same time, it makes things difficult. I mean, that's why sometimes we're inconsistent with our shows, and why I don't show up as consistently as I. And we always talk about consistency is one of the keys to Whatnot. And I'm one of the most inconsistent sellers, which is part of why I'm struggling to grow. I know that, but at the same time, a lot of my inconsistencies is because of having to drop everything to deal with her. Medical issues, days of no nursing, and I have to take off all day to go spend the day with her.
Or he's at a storage unit. That kind of stuff, and you can't do a show being at a storage unit getting.
Yeah, when I'm in a rush to clean out a unit, I don't have. But honestly, like I have 2 units right now, one of which I've got to get back to and finish cleaning out. It's a small unit and it's just got mostly trash left in it now. The unit that we tried to do the 24-hour Joe Hollywood Sweat special.
This one
challenge.
Got sick.
In the middle of the show. Our sales were horrible. Part of that was because we bought a unit to do that show, and the unit wound up being 90% trash. Unfortunately, and that's the way it goes. We made some money on the unit. It wound up being a decent unit as far as we made some good money on it for what we paid for it. But the downside was that there was a lot of trash, so I was nowhere near our sales totals that we needed to be at. After 16 hours, I was still under 100 sales, and part of the challenge was to be over 500 sales.
But he got sick.
So there was that. Sick. That was one of the factors, but I also, about 10 o'clock at night, I started getting sick. Really, it started about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I started getting nauseous, and we thought maybe it was because I hadn't eaten. So she went and made me something to eat, and that made me even more nauseous. I was running a fever.
He got sick.
I was literally about to pass out. So we wound up ending the show about 10:30 that night. We were on though for a really long time. We started at 8 in the morning and we went to 10:30 at night. So, and we did have a break in the show because we had my phone died, even though it had been on the charger most of the day. So I wound up having to change devices, so we had to end the show when
and believe me, he was ready to
later.
give up right there, and I was like, "Don't give up, just go on. Change if we have to, we have to. If it doesn't count, it doesn't count. But at least you tried, and
we thought we hit
him for
we
that.
thought we hit our 1,000 sales during that show, but I don't know when they calculated it out. Sometimes whatnot discount certain sales. I don't know because they didn't count all of my sales because I had over the number that we needed to get to the 1,000 sales through that show. Once you take out the giveaways, because I was told the only thing that doesn't count is giveaways. But once I took out the giveaways, I still was like 3 sales, or I was 5 over, but I want to be in like 4 sales short once they calculated whatever they calculate on it.
But we're there now, so.
But we got it this last show. Yeah. I had several people that were messaging me asking where I went. I got sick, and then I wasn't on for like a week because I was literally I was down sick.
But it wasn't just James that was sick. You got to understand, it started back around Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Started with my youngest one, and that had nothing to do with James. James wasn't dealing with that. I was dealing with that. Our 5-year-old got sick.
Well, I mean, everybody in the house was dealing with it because
Emily got sick. Then, of course, I got sick in between both of them. I didn't get sick as bad as they did because as soon as my 5-year-old got sick, I started downing things. I was like, I'm not going down. You know how us mothers can be. So I think I caught like a sore throat and cough, which I still have a cough. But then I got James sick. I think, because I was kissing on him.
So, but you know, people get sick, and that's one of the things, especially this time of year. We have sicknesses going around. Emily got sick. So between me being sick and then Emily being sick, and I was having to take care of her a lot of that time too. Just got home from a cruise and got pretty sick. No. Oh no, that happens too.
That's horrible, actually.
How do we end a cruise? Let's get sick! Yay!
I wonder who you were around that got you sick. I know who got us sick. You know, I know who it was.
But we were on track or something, and then we got totally derailed, and I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Oh, that's we
were talking about the business. You know, there's a lot. One of the things I was talking about on the business side of things is there's a lot of expenses a lot of people don't think about. You know, it's not just whatnot fees or shipping charges. You know, because we also have to buy shipping supplies, and we limit shipping supplies a lot. We scavenge boxes just like we scavenge everything else.
Luckily, we have boxes that are delivered to us.
Emily gets medical supplies delivered to her to the house, so we always save and reuse those boxes.
We use the boxes
and we use the free USPS boxes. That's why we do a lot. Anything over, we pretty much set our pricing to where pretty much 2 or 3 items or more, and it's going priority mail.
I would say you're a scavenger. Definitely.
I scavenge for shipping supplies.
I mean, you even use some of the shipping.
We bought units. In fact, you know, when we bought the L'Oreal unit, wound up being one of the best units we ever bought. I was buying it as shipping supplies because all we could really see was a lot of empty boxes. Hey, Bigfoot.
Yeah, it is expensive, Shorty.
When we saw it, there was a big pile of empty boxes, and there was a stack of boxes on the side of the wall, but we didn't have any clue what was in the boxes, so we were assuming it might all be trash.
That was I didn't think so.
So I didn't bid high. Well, it was also a manager special.
I didn't think it was going to be trash. I don't know why.
And that's one of the things. A lot of people say stay away from the manager special units. That L'Oreal unit was a manager special. It was one of the best units we ever bought. The problem people have with manager specials is they pay too much for them. I was also at my highest bid. I think we paid $130 for that unit, and my top bid was $140. I wasn't going to bid any more than that because that's what I could see. I don't bid on anything I can't see. I don't assume. If I can't see it,
you bid it on the blind unit, but we did that.
We did one. We did buy a unit that was a blind unit. There was no pictures on the listing.
I was being crazy that day. I said, "Come on!"
I was like,
I thought we got it.
Well, at the time too, it was like what that we did over the summer, and we were still doing a lot of YouTube. I'm still trying to do YouTube. I got to get back. We're multi-streaming to YouTube right now. I am working on getting back into YouTube videos as well. I've just been so busy, I haven't had time. But we bought this unit mainly because we thought it'd make a good YouTube video, and then the video didn't turn out. It wound up being my video on my phone got jacked up and it didn't work.
Yeah, but what was funny
but
is
we bought the unit blind. We had no idea what was in it.
Yeah,
it was a 5x10 unit.
No pictures.
There was no pictures on the listing. We called the facility and they couldn't tell us anything about the unit. So we bid $10 on the unit, wound up getting it. And then it wound up having a pair of Ariat boots that I claimed because they're my size, and I'm still wearing them.
That's all right.
It would have been a pretty good unit. There was an iPhone in there. There was some nice clothes in there. We made over $100 selling stuff off the unit, and I kept the most expensive item in the unit, which was the boots.
Right, it is fantastic. Now that doesn't happen often. It does not happen often, but I was just like, James, well, if it's $10, it's $10, and
yeah, it was a $10 unit.
I would actually.
I probably wouldn't have spent. I probably wouldn't have gone more than $10 on the unit.
Yeah, I told him I would watch that because I'd be curious. Well, did they win at it or not? I was like, this is a good nail biter. Like, oh my gosh, what's going to be in the unit?
And then sometimes we get crazy deals. We got a 12x30 right now sitting in Killeen, which is 2 hours away. Part of why I'm trying to liquidate a bunch of stuff is to make room for that unit. And we paid $20 for the unit. Now we also rented the unit out, so we got a little more invested in it than that. But it's a 12x30, and I couldn't believe I got it for only $20.
I could.
There was only 2 bids on the entire unit.
I could. I know.
And it was a 12x30. Okay, a lot of the boxes looked like they were empty. They're not. But the boxes looked like they were empty boxes. The way they were stacked, the way boxes were turned over. There was a few empty boxes in there, but almost every box that I looked at had stuff in it. But a lot of them are like half full. But it's a 12x30 unit. That's a huge unit. And it's probably about half packed. So, and based on what I've already found, just going
y'all gonna love
glancing,
what's gonna
I've already sold some of the jewelry out of the unit.
Y'all are gonna love what's gonna come. That's all I'm gonna say.
And we found a bunch of vintage stuff in there. And I just kind of glanced at what was right in the front and what was open. I haven't gone through anything in that unit yet. I just went up there, kind of looked around when I went up there to put a lock on it.
So, James.
And I haven't been back since.
What kind of show are we doing later on? Is it a liquidation sale?
Basically liquidation. I'm pretty much unboxed everything I've got.
The thing
but then
is,
reboxed it.
With that, so it's kind of like half and half. He kind of knows what's in there, but he doesn't know what's in there, if you get my drift. Like, because there's part of another unit that he had a wreck in. I mean, he just pulled out. Y'all missed it. Y'all missed it.
I'm not even on that book.
That book grade train. Y'all missed it. Everyone booked out of there except for me. So I was still on there. It was just me and my husband, right?
Oh.
And all of a sudden, he pulls out some books, and he thinks they're books. He pulls out a tote that he thought were books. There were not books in there.
Well, there was like 2 or 3 books on the top, and that's all I did. I glanced inside the tote, and I saw books on the top, and there were so many books in that unit. We thought it was just another tote of books.
Yeah.
But it was just a couple of books on top, and then there was folders underneath, or notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
One was a
Vietnam.
A scrapbook from Vietnam.
From Vietnam.
The guy that had owned the unit was a Vietnam veteran. So we think it was from his time in Vietnam. Just leave it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, getting pop-ups.
Yeah, those are all the notifications coming in of people going live.
So yeah, he had letters and pictures and all sorts of stuff in there. We found
that. We also found a bunch of.
Oh wait, you already told me. Never mind.
I've already talked about it.
Yeah.
We found envelopes. I found an envelope full of small little envelopes, and these aren't the ones that we found in there, but we found some others. Okay.
This probably came from the first batch.
These are ones from the first batch.
This was the second batch that we found.
And we have to get them tested, but we found this is just one. We found another batch in another bin earlier, but we found like a dozen of those in there, diamond and rubies, Some of them are CZs, are marked as CZs, and some of them are not.
And some of
So
them
we're
are
taking them to a
simulated.
jeweler to get them tested, to see what they are and get kind of a rough appraisal of what they're worth. Because if they're real diamonds or rubies, they could actually be enough to like replace our vehicle.
We found stocks.
We found some stock certificates from 1924.
1924, guys.
And the company got bought out by another company, and then that company got bought out by another company, and is still in business today.
So that should be interesting. We'll let you know.
I've got the word out to the company that now owns, the original company, and to see what we have to do to get those stock certificates transferred into my name and get them validated to see what they're worth.
Then we found.
I was gonna sell them as ephemera if the company was out of business.
Y'all missed all this. This was on the Book Ray train going live. And luckily, was gone.
Yeah, luckily my dad works in stock investing, so I've always looked out for stock certificates. Because my dad's into that world and he's into investing and stuff, and has worked in teaching people how to do investing.
Even though you're on a Book Ray train, some people don't know what they're unboxing when they're on it, because y'all would have caught all of that had y'all been on it. People had been on it at that time, but I understand their books. But that wasn't even it, Bigfoot.
My dad has access to resources because I couldn't find anything about the company when I started searching. But I sent it to my dad because I know he has access, because of his work in the stock field. He has access to resources I don't have. And so he looked them up and did some research for me.
Yeah, he dug
deeper. Doug was able to dig deeper into things and found out that the company was bought out
in that same unit. 1950s. We found other stocks, but they had also come to 2019, but then they dissolved because
that was in 2009.
2009.
Not 19. But that company had been put out of business basically by the FCC because they were caught dealing fraudulent activity.
So they were
fraudulent reporting, and one of the fines put them out of business. So those wound up not being worth anything, but some people still collect those old stock certificates. So this is one of those things. If you find any paper stuff of any kind of documentation like that, like old stock certificates, the company may be out of business.
Do not throw it, even though it looks like a lot.
People collect that kind of stuff, so it might not be worth much, but it might still fall for $5 or $10, as ephemera. So that's one of the things. I found the stock certificates, and I was like, I found the ones from the 1920s, and I was like, if nothing else, I can run them as ephemera. If the company's out of business, but I want to make sure before I sell these for $10 as ephemera that the stock certificates are not worth anything. So we started doing some research, and from what we've gathered so far, the company's still in business, or
and now that was
the company's been sold out. So the buyer of that company is still in business,
and then
which means that they could be worth something. In fact, I looked up the company that owns the parent company now, that owns the original company now. And their shares are trading at $90 a share. And based on if it's a 1-for-1 exchange with no stock splits or anything, which that gets complicated, but they'd be worth over $1,000 worth of stocks based on the number of shares we have. Now, I don't know how the exchange went when they bought out the company, so there's going to be a lot of things that are going to have to be figured on that as to how many shares what we have is actually worth. But that company's, so if they're worth anything at all, it's worth more than $90. That right there is, if all of them were worth one share now, which it should be more than that.
He just always takes the low end of everything.
Yeah, but I'm like,
hi, Carrie Bear.
That's still almost what we paid for that unit.
Yeah. and then during that same live unboxing of the books, what else did you find in there?
So I found the diamonds. We found that. Oh, we found some pictures. We found a set of pictures.
Just pictures. What kind of pictures?
Old prints of photographs.
From the studio themselves.
From the studio, and it's actually a print set. It's got Humphrey Bogart and Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, And they're all signed.
Betty Davis.
Betty Davis. Yeah, there was like a dozen pictures in there, and they were all famous
and yes,
actors.
They're gonna come up
from the 40s, 50s.
Hey,
Hi,
Redneck. How's it going?
Good morning.
Join us later. What time is it? 1:30?
1:30. We're going live again.
We're going live.
This is our Sunday every week.
We do Sunday Funday chat show, and he's gonna sell his unit around 1:30.
Yep. I've got some stuff out on the tables, but we're also going to be going through boxes. I technically do have some more boxes I have not gone through over there yet, but I kind of know what's in them. It's mostly there's a lot of computer parts and stuff. Heading to the casino. Well, that's cool too. Have some fun at the casino. Good luck with that. Always looking for digital cameras.
We'll keep that in mind, Shorty.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, they are.
In fact, you bought the last of the ones we hit.
Except for this, whatever this is.
I don't even know if it works yet. I haven't found the plugs for it.
He hasn't found the plugs, but we have this.
This is a vintage digital. This is like one of the early. It's a little Kodak.
Oh, well, cool. I think that's great that you fix them up.
Waterproof up to 3 meters, but
they fix it up, so they might be able to fix that part up, maybe a little.
It's got the battery in it.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if the battery's any good, but it's got the battery in it.
Husband tests them. I don't know. That is kind of cool though.
But the hinge thing doesn't click into place, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how we found it. We found it in one of our last storage units. That is an old camera, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing is we find these things and we usually sell them, so I don't know if they work or not. We don't usually test the cameras out unless I do. Usually, I will say if I find camera lenses, even some of the old vintage ones from
it's probably going to come up, Shorty. So keep cameras. An eye. I don't know when he's going to sell it though. I don't know.
Well, I ran it during my last couple of shows, and nobody bid on it. So I don't know, I'll probably run it again. Even if I find camera lenses, because I have my own camera that I use for my YouTube videos and stuff, and so if I find lenses,
yeah,
I'll often keep those. If I can get adapters for them to use them on my Sony E-mount camera. Because, a lot of times, and I know a lot of people that are into photography and videography, and they like the older lenses better than some of the newer lenses, even though the newer lenses, the downside to some of the older lenses is they don't have like the autofocus and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard some lenses are valuable. We wouldn't know which ones were there. He doesn't mess with that.
So well, I do. I kind of look them up because once I get the lenses, I can look them up and see what they're worth and see what they're. But like, we found some decent lenses and some decent cameras.
They also sold.
But yeah, cameras. If I get cameras, they're gone. I mean, the first time I run cameras, most of the time they're sold. Somebody's gonna want them. I can't keep those in stock. It's
those and knives,
like knives, cameras, cards, video games, that kind of stuff. As soon as I find them, they're like instantly sold.
Mm-hmm. And wooden stuff, things that are made out of wood.
Sometimes. Some of the wooden stuff sells quick. Some of the wooden stuff sits around for a while and doesn't sell.
Right.
Okay. And it just depends on who shows up. That's the thing is you never know. And like right now we have 5 people, but I could pull stuff out. If I pulled out the right stuff, we could get a bidding war, and I could pull out stuff and sit here for an hour and not sell anything.
You should have gone with James.
Last night.
James is looking for one. I don't know.
Not really. I'm not really looking for any lenses right now. I've got to get the adapters for the lenses I already have.
Oh, see. He needs to get adapters. You know what? Since nobody wants this, I might keep this for myself. This is like big. Look at this. My whole hand, like.
It's a big
glass.
Sunflower. But it says, "You are my sunshine." And I said I was going to just pencil in treasures underneath. and send it to Curtis.
But it's big. But I'm thinking this would make a good hot chocolate. Yeah, but James would probably steal it from me because it's so big. He likes to drink his coffee. He'd probably put his coffee in there, and I'd never see it again. And our daughter Emily fell in love with this beautiful pink cup. She wanted it. She has a way of telling us what she wants. She's totally girl.
The thing is like she wants stuff, and she gets all excited when she sees stuff and gets mad if I'm not bidding on it.
Yeah, it's funny,
and it's stuff that she can't even use because of her cerebral palsy. It's like you want a cup. It's a nice little teacup, and it is a beautiful hand painted teacup. It's probably worth a lot more than what I paid for it because I only paid for $3 for it at an auction, and I got free shipping on that auction. So
I'll figure out a way.
But she can't use it. She can't do anything with it, so now it just sits there. But she gets a smile on her face every time she looks at it.
Every time she sees it. And she loves jewelry. What girl doesn't love jewelry?
I mean, she loves jewelry, but she can't wear a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's not because of her disability. It's because she's so tiny.
Well, some of it's tiny, but some of it's because of her disability. Some of it's because of her.
She was wearing a necklace the other day. We have to monitor necklaces and bracelets. Those two, because her neck is like so, and then her bracelet, so everything is like 2 times as big on her. It seems like.
Well, she's just so tiny. I mean, you got to realize she's 11 years old, but she only weighs 30 pounds. So you know she's extremely small for her age. I mean, her 5-year-old brother weighs twice as much as she does.
Yeah, that's true.
She's really grown a lot. So she's long, but she's like super skinny, and she has almost no meat on her bones. She has a little bit now, but her weight gain has been one of our biggest battles.
Yeah,
that we've been fighting for years.
For the longest time. It's all James's fault. I'm just joking. It's not James's fault. His family's tiny. That's why I say it's James's fault. My family is not tiny. If you go look at my 5-year-old, that's what my family looks like. I guess Emily.
Well, and part of it's just keeping her on a feed that she can process. And
she has a lot of feeding problems.
She has a lot of feeding issues. You know, she's tube fed mostly, but she does eat a little bit by mouth. But honestly, they also think that she's burning more calories when she eats by mouth than she's actually taking in. So it doesn't really do any good to feed her by mouth, but she enjoys to eat by mouth, so we still feed her by mouth.
Oh yeah, she gets upset. She wants everything.
If we're eating, she wants to eat whatever, and we better not give her something else either. We better give her what we're eating.
Yep. So that's an interesting.
She does love to eat by mouth, but there's some things we eat she can't eat.
And we have to figure out what we can feed her.
We have to figure out a way to feed her.
Yeah, we have to figure out what's on our plate that she can eat because she wants what we're eating.
We eat a lot of things like mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes and stuff and refried beans, you know, small stuff. Part of the family when she does stuff that's pureed because it's things that she can eat. And that's always a consideration whenever we go out to eat or whenever we eat.
Especially lately.
We're always trying to consider that. But business, you know, sometimes because of her weight loss, because of her issues, that interferes with us being able to come and do our live shows.
Yeah.
You know, we've had to make multiple trips. We had to make an emergency trip back in October to Dallas. It came up overnight. And we were supposed to go up there and see the doctor and come back the next day. That turned into a 2-week stay.
Yep. In the hospital?
She wound up getting admitted to the hospital. They had to do a procedure. The procedure got put off. So it wound up being a few more days of waiting. And then she wound up getting sick right after the procedure, so they couldn't let her go home. So our 2-day stay or our 2-day trip up to Dallas wound up turning into 2 weeks, including a week-long hospital stay.
And that's when we decided we were going to buy a unit.
That was totally unexpected. We wound up buying a unit while we were there because we were like, well, part of it too was like, technically we could have come home, but we would have come home on like Friday and then turn around and come right back to on Sunday or Monday. So it was like go home for 2 days and then turn around and come right back. It didn't make sense. So we just paid for our hotel room for a couple of days extra to stay over instead of going back and forth. Plus, unfortunately, one of my longtime friends and mentors, that same week all that was going down, one of my longtime friends and mentors passed away that week. There was also the same week as the roast train, which is why I was on the roast train with Ingalon, and I had to drop out at the last minute because I
But
just
he
with
didn't.
Emily and my
He could
friend
have
passing
probably
away, we
done
had
it,
so
but
much going on.
he was already pre-planning, so he didn't realize. He said, "Man, if I had known I was going to be here during this, I would have never have canceled that roast."
Well, yeah, we didn't know what was going on. We had Emily going on. My friend passed away, and I was dealing with grief and all of that. I just had a lot going on that week, but technically, I probably could have made my spot for the roast train. But honestly, when my time for the roast train came up, I was in the middle of cleaning out that storage unit too. So, because I was watching the roast train while I was loading up the storage unit.
And that's when we decided we were, guys, this is a good idea. And I've heard other sellers say this. You never know what's going to go happen in your life. If you're going to go on vacation, if you're going to go, and how long you're going to be out. It would be good and beneficial to have a, we do it with Emily a lot. And we decided to do it with the business, but we have an emergency to go kit for our business.
Yep.
For exactly what just happened.
And we put that kit together while we were in Dallas for that long trip, because we were up there and we were like, well, we need to buy some stuff, we need to sell some stuff, and then I was like, okay, well, we need a shipping scale, we need this, we need that, we need some shipping supplies, we need tape, we need all this stuff in order to run a show.
So that show kind of helped pay for a lot of that stuff.
So the unit we bought in Dallas, we kind of broke even on, but the reason we broke even, we made money on the unit, but we broke even because we spent everything we made on that show to buy the kit. So we bought we got a secondary scale. So now I got a shipping scale that stays in the bag. We've got a thermal printer.
And then we got a thermal printer the next.
It's a Bluetooth printer, so if I don't have my laptop, I'd rather have my laptop, but it's because it's Bluetooth, I can connect it to my tablet or to my phone, which is broken too, by the way. My phone is completely dead, so we're using a tablet right now.
Tablet and my phone.
But it's a good idea to have a backup kit anyway for your business, and especially if you do things like traveling.
Yeah,
I would take a kit with you, because you never know when you're gonna be traveling and want to run a show. You need all your stuff
right inside our hotel room.
Yep, we went to buying a unit in Dallas. We sold it out of our hotel room. We actually donated over 50% of the stuff out of the unit, a lot of which could have been sold if we'd have taken our time, but we had no way to get it back home because we're with Emily and all of our stuff. And
he thought we were leaving a lot sooner than we were. And it kind of extended our stay just a tad bit, and then something happened.
Yeah, because she was supposed to have her procedure and then get sent home. Originally it was that day, and then they were going to keep her overnight, and then she got sick overnight, and they went having to keep her for a few extra days. So it just kept getting extended and extended and extended.
But he had already gotten rid of a lot of everything.
Well, I'd gotten rid of a lot of stuff. We did bring some stuff, but we were like maximizing how much space, and honestly, I could not fit anything else in that car.
Yeah.
But we did save, some of the stuff, and we have some of it we've still got over in our storage. We've run some of it.
We kind of went through it. Okay, what was
in fact, we'll probably be running some of the stuff from that Dallas unit when we're over at the stores this afternoon, because that's some of the stuff that I'm right at the point of getting rid of. Because that's kind of right there in the front of the unit. But, when we bought that unit in Dallas, we wound up donating, boxes of books that were books that we could have sold. And we still made good money on that unit. We had a good unit. It wasn't a spectacular unit. It was a normal, everyday household unit, but we did found some jewelry. We found like 3 jewelry boxes. And we sold most of the jewelry. We did have a couple of pieces of loose jewelry that we found here and there. Some of which wound up being sterling silver that we wound up selling separately. But we even sold some of that in the 24-hour show. We sold some of the sterling that we sold during the 24-hour show was, even though it wasn't 24 hours, it was supposed to be a 24-hour show. But some of the jewelry sold during that show came out of that unit. We found, a little bit of everything. We found money. We found coins. We sold a lot of it right then and there. Yeah. We found foreign coins, Argentinian coins,
if we find Brazilian coins, any foreign coins, we will automatically take them up to auction. They'll go through. Bought some from you, but Shorty wanted to keep it. I can understand that. That guy. I mean, I can understand that. I was starting to look at it. And I was like, "Ooh, this looks kind of cool. This looks." And don't we have more coins? Didn't you say we had more coins, or did we sell them all?
I
think
think
he's
I
got
have
some
a
more
few.
coins.
I have a few left.
Yeah, I think he's got a few left too.
The silver ring, that was a nice ring, and I don't know. Might have somebody check. I don't know what all the symbols because I don't read Japanese or Chinese or whatever it is. But if you look on the inside of the ring, there's a bunch of Oriental Asian style writings in there. Yeah, it was a 999 silver ring. I knew that. But there's also Asian writing symbols and calligraphy inside the ring. And I have no idea what the symbols are, so I don't know what it says. I thought that was a cool ring. You thought you got an amazing deal on that. And I've got some. We found some stuff that was sterling. We found some stuff. I've got a whole bin of stuff over here that I've got to get tested. It's all either marked either sterling or gold. And I've got to get it all tested to verify that it's actually real. We don't usually run our gold. We'll usually run the sterling once we've tested it. I don't want to sell it as sterling, even if it's marked and it not be, because we found a lot of sterling that was marked 925 that wasn't. And we found a lot of stuff that was not marked 925 that was. And guys, so I like to test it first.
Yeah, he likes to test it first
before I sell it.
Yeah, he will be bringing.
But I do have a whole bin over here of sterling and gold stuff. I usually don't run the gold here on Whatnot. No offense, I know people get mad at me for that, but the fact is usually I can scrap it for more than what Whatnot will pay me for the gold. And a lot of it's wearable pieces. It's worth a lot more than scrap value.
We always try to bring the pieces back. We don't want to
and I know
say it's sterling
that
silver.
That pisses people off that I won't sell the gold here, but it is what it is.
We don't want to sell sterling silver or say that it's diamonds and just take it at whatever in the packet saying face value, because we're trying to bring product that we can actually say, hey, this is silver. This is like Shorty said, 999 silver. So it gets tested out before we bring it up to y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm gonna sell silver
he does
jewelry,
put them in those lots. He does put them in the lots.
Because I don't want to screw y'all, but I also don't want to screw myself. So I don't want to sell you a piece that's not tested for $2 or $3, and then I find out later it was sterling silver and worth a lot more than that. But at the same time, I don't want to screw y'all. I want to give y'all a great deal. So usually if I find sterling, unless it's like really really heavy, I usually start it at like $5, $3 to $5 starts. Mm-hmm. So that's still a great deal for anything sterling anyway.
You keep most of it.
Well, we gotta sell some of it too. Like I've got a bunch of gold. We've got to get tested.
None of the sterling silver hits me anyway. So
part of the reason I have the bin is we're gonna take the whole bin of sterling, gold, and those diamond packets, and we're gonna take that whole bin to the jeweler, and let them test everything and tell us what we've got and give us an estimated value of what we've got. Because, and then sometimes the jewelers will offer us, money, especially ones that do a lot of repairs and stuff. When we have the loose stones and stuff, even if the stones are real and
right,
they might offer us a decent deal on it, and probably more than what I can sell them for here on Whatnot. Even if it's not full, retail value, I doubt anybody's going to pay me retail value on the loose stones, because then they're going to try to. Anybody buying loose stones is going to use them. So we're going to get, at best wholesale prices on them. Right. But still, wholesale prices on real diamonds is not cheap.
Yeah. So
I mean, wholesale prices alone could probably buy us a new vehicle. And that's like one of my top priorities right now. I got two priorities right now that are really high on my radar. One is buying a vehicle, because it's really hard, especially right now.
A tangle
because
ball?
Not only did I wreck our truck.
Shorty, so does that mean, like, I know James sometimes will have these tangle balls of all this jewelry, and he's like untangling them. You mean they actually put the whole ball entangled and just tossed it in like that?
Some people do that. Double D does that.
Oh, it took you 4 hours to untangle it?
At a yard sale? Oh, you get them at a yard sale? I buy them on auctions here on Whatnot. People sell them that way here on Whatnot. I sometimes buy jewelry lots. So far, I've only had one jewelry lot that did not pay for itself. And what I'll do is that's why I piece out a lot of jewelry, because I like going through the jewelry and I like selling the jewelry.
Until he gets bored.
Got
a solid gold toothpick.
Well, I also don't do it all at once, so I'll do a little bit and then I'll do some more later.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot cool. that I got from Double D that honestly paid for.
Wow,
was worth every.
That's probably what started that ball. If that was in there, that's probably what was. All that stuff was wrapped around the ball, right? Or the toothpick. I could see that happening.
Yeah. So I got a jewelry lot from Double D that had a necklace in there. One necklace in that jewelry lot that was 14 karat gold, but it was also 2.5 ounces of gold. It was a big, heavy necklace. That one necklace, and especially with the way gold prices were really up just before the election, and
he didn't take care of it already.
That necklace was worth over $2,000.
But he didn't take care of it already. He can't find it.
I lost it. I had it right here, and I'm like, I hope somebody didn't steal that thing because
we haven't had anybody in.
I actually saw that. The thing is that necklace was the whole reason I bought the unit or bought the lot, because I saw the necklace when he was putting it in, and with Emily, her brain malformation, which is the cause of all of her disabilities.
Hi, Jen Deals.
Is called Hey, Jen Deals. Her brain malformation is called holoprosencephaly. It is shortened for hope. And the symbol for hope is the anchor.
Right.
So I saw this anchor necklace with this anchor pendant. And I was like, oh, there's the anchor necklace for Emily's holoprosencephaly. I'm going to buy that lot just because I want that necklace.
Yeah, he already bought one for Emily.
And so I bought it. And then after I got it and I untangled that necklace from the lot, I found out it was 14 karat gold. And you couldn't tell it was gold from the video he showed. It didn't look like it was gold the way he was holding it. But once I got it, and I was like, oh my God, this is gold. Now, at first I was like, oh, it's a gold tone necklace. And then I got my hands on it, and it's marked 14 karat. And that's the thing about
James. He always assumes, it doesn't matter what, even if it's gold staring you right in the face, he always assumes it's gold plated or fake gold. Yeah, he always does that.
Well, I see people that see gold and they automatically overbid because they assume that it's real. I would rather assume that it's not.
He does the same thing
and bid accordingly.
What did he do with the?
Because then I'd rather underbid and underbuy stuff.
He does the same thing with units too.
I do the same thing with units. If I don't see it
throughout the thing,
I see people. How many people have I seen though? I mean, you see it all over YouTube.
Like the stock certificates. He gave y'all the low end of what it could cost. Like he didn't automatically go, which most people will go, ooh, this is the most I could get out of it.
What's the absolute most I could get out of it? And then they're gonna like get all excited based off of what's the top dollar.
He takes the low end of the.
But part of the two is I've rarely ever gotten top dollar on anything.
Y'all just need to know that about him because he's kind of like that.
Seer treasure.
But that could be something really great for y'all because and there have been a couple of times he's been wrong, by the way. More than it's like a 50-50.
So. Wrong? Me?
Yes.
Never. You. No, I mean but I would rather be wrong on the low end than wrong on the high end.
Yeah. And we're cautious.
That's where people lose money.
Out too.
People are always like, oh, it's always gambling. Well, that's because you're overbidding. If you're gambling on units, because I can tell you, I can look at a unit and I can tell you, if you spend between this much and this much on that unit, it's a no-brainer. I'm gonna like the unit we got. Okay, we paid $20 for this unit that we just got. It was a no-brainer. I said it's a no-brainer. Anything under $100 on that unit. So that was my bid. Was $100. It's a no-brainer. Anything over that, okay. Now we're taking a little bit of risk, but it's still probably going to be a good unit.
Most of the time when he gambles, it's because of me.
If it's a gamble, I always have a set price. I'm like, if you spend more than this much on this unit, you're gambling. That's when it becomes risky. That's when you're gambling. You're standing a chance, and it's out of your control whether you're going to make money.
Yeah, it's usually because of me that he'll
and
gamble.
every unit I look at that way. And
but there's not too many that I actually.
I rarely gamble. And every year gamble, my number one rule with gambling is if you're going to gamble, you never gamble more than you can afford to lose. If you're broke, you can't afford to lose.
Is when we do, because so we have two different set prices. By the way, guys, we have this is what we think that the unit's worth. And if we really like the unit, how much are we willing to gamble when we gamble? Are we going to gamble? If say the unit was like, we're going to say, okay, we're going to only bid 150, but we really like the unit. We want to get the unit. So what are we willing to go up to? Are we willing to go up to like another 150 and make it, 300? And it just depends on that. And sometimes it's very rare that we do it, but there has been a couple of times that we have taken the gamble. It's usually
it's also though when I'm looking at it, okay, I think because I'm always keeping in mind my number one rule is I've got to make 3 to 4 times what I spent on the unit. Okay, so if I'm gonna spend $700 on a unit, I gotta be able to make $2,100 off of that unit.
And by the way, we've never paid $700.
At what not prices? Because that's where I sell my stuff.
We've never paid $700 on a unit. I know
I've never bought a unit.
We never have. But that's thanks to this one right here. That's thanks to this one, and that's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sear.
I know. I want to know what happened. You'll have to
get better.
Ting us.
We all have bad days, so I get it. I hope things get better for you.
But is there any questions you might have?
I think it's like manager specials. A lot of people are like, "Oh, never buy a manager special. They're always horrible. You always lose money." I have never lost money on a manager special because I never overbid on them. I honestly will bid half of what I would normally bid because it's a manager special.
And those free offers that you get, I would say.
Yeah, some people say.
Yeah.
Well, it also depends on where you're. Like I see, like. Okay,
it depends.
Like Pirate, some of these guys that are dropping $20,000 on a unit, $15,000 on a unit. It's probably not in the best interest of their business to pick up some of these free units.
But we're not Pirate.
But I'm not Pirate. I mean, I'm sitting here picking up $10 and $20 units when I can get them because we're scraping to get inventory and still bringing decent stuff to the auction. I'm not in the same position financially as Pirate and some of these other channels. And I'm okay with that. I'm not comparing myself to them. It's an observation of being realistic in where I'm at. For me, I've made good money off of some free pickup units.
Yep. And you also got to see it this way.
And we've got
does that unit have at least $5 worth of stuff in there? Can you sell it for $5?
I mean, we got one unit that had 2 pieces of furniture. We got it. We picked up the free unit because it had 2 pieces of furniture that we wanted. I could have sold it for probably $40 or $50, but it was
actually more than that.
But we kept the furniture, and that was all that was in the unit. We've also had other free units that Another thing is like how far out of my way you have to go to get the unit.
That we had, and the girl had like it was like a music box type thing, and it had like a record and you play it. She had that, and then she had all these big old balls of Christmas stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she
I still have.
She was military, so it had military stuff in there too.
There was a bunch of military stuff. There was there was some of the Avon stuff that we've been selling.
Yeah, really cute Avon. I took them though. Y'all never saw them. Yeah, she had that in there.
This is the Avon. This is one of the President's Clubs. That's why I know she was an Avon dealer.
She had that in a smaller version. Where's a smaller version of that?
We sold that one.
Oh, we already sold that one.
We had this one. This was $19.99. The one from 1998 was a smaller figurine. It had a glass cup. We sold that one at one of our auctions. We had some plates that we already sold.
And that was coming out of the free unit, guys.
And this was all stuff that we found in a free unit. We found gold and silver jewelry in that unit.
Mm-hmm.
We found a bunch of costume jewelry in that unit. Kids stuff. Some toys and stuff that we already sold. It was a free unit that we picked up, and we were already headed up there to pick up another unit anyway. So we weren't out of a lot of, because it was in San Antonio. It was a long ways away. But we weren't out a lot of gas to go get it because we were already headed over there to pick up another unit. So it was just a
just
little.
Don't think that there's always
time out of our
shot.
way.
There's a bunch of junk in those units. Sometimes there's not. I've been on the site where we bid and stuff, and there'll be people all day long, and I'm seeing units. I'm like, wow, they have nobody's bidded on these, and probably because they've had
people
other stuff that they
misjudged the units. We've misjudged units, but luckily I'm super conservative in how I bid. So even when I misjudge a unit, we usually at least break even.
Yeah, we usually break
even. I've actually only had even like 2 units that we bought that we just broke even and didn't make any money on. I've had units that we didn't quite double or triple our money on.
Excuse me.
But I've only had even a couple of units. I have never completely like totally in the red and didn't even make back what I spent on the unit. Not once. But it's because of how I bid. It's possible,
especially for
but you pass up on a lot of good units because of how conservative I am too. But some of that too is
that's true.
Budget. Like I said, I'm willing to gamble if I have money that I can afford to lose.
Yeah, like
if we have a budget,
I would not say put your whole retirement into a unit.
I would never do that.
You know,
I would never. I'm always asking.
We
okay,
always make sure before we bid on a unit that all of our bills are paid. He'll ask me, how much do I have to spend?
Well,
and usually I give him the low end because that's the way he is.
You should have,
but I do have a higher end that we can go more on if we have.
You need to also separate your business finances,
yeah,
from your personal finances. One, if you're running any kind of business,
right,
especially this kind of business, you need to separate your business expenses and your business finances from your personal. But part of that too is because we don't use debt. I don't have a credit card. Will not have any credit cards. The only debt I have in my life right now is the mortgage on my house.
Yeah, so we're not paying credit cards when we're paying on these units.
That's part of why we're able to make things work with making relatively little money starting off on this stuff, though, is because we have no debt. So we don't have huge debt payments. We don't have credit card bills.
And I've consolidated most of our high-end bills, like our cell phone, our internet,
and starting the reselling business is what helped us get out of debt. Yes. But where I was going with that is, I have a fund that we set aside money into, and it's not as big as I want it to be yet. My goal is to get that fund to about $5,000 to $10,000, and we're nowhere near that yet. But we put a little bit of money aside, and that is our auction fund. And that is, if we're gonna bid, if there's money in that fund, this is what we've got to bid. Or to spend.
And he's probably still going to have to come to me because when he asks me about the bidding, like how much do we have to bid, I'll give him the low end, but I also have a second price bid that if it's a unit that we really want, like I was telling y'all, then I'll say, okay, well, we have this amount of money. It might be $150 more than what I originally told him. Because I also do the business finances too. So I'll tell him, okay, you only have this much to bid. And he may still have a little bit more, but it might be that I took some of that money that he probably had extra to go, like maybe somewhere in his business that he might need some business equipment or something. So I try to do that too. And get him that giveaway.
Now we're going to do this giveaway and then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, because we got to go to the unit.
We got to get over to the unit.
And I don't know if I'm going to be there yet.
In like an hour.
It may be him. I don't know.
It may just be me over there. But, we're doing a lot. And you got to realize, too, like, what we can, sometimes bid, 300, 400, 500. And we've had times we've been able to bid up to $1,000 on a unit.
Oh, but
always, never. I've had some that I would have. But then the auction got canceled before we got that far. But we also have to think about when you're looking at, okay, this is my budget. Don't just think about this is my budget. I can bid that amount. You've got to think about what's it going to cost me to move this stuff, and where am I going to store this stuff? Because if you don't have storage, you're going to have to pay storage fees. If you don't have a truck and trailer, which like right now I don't, we have to rent a truck to move some of these units right now.
Destroyed my truck.
So you've got to think about those expenses. So like I have units that I'd be willing to spend, $700 or $800 on, but then I'm going to have to rent a truck. That's another $200. I'm gonna
Thanks,
have
Shorty.
to take the time to move it. We're gonna have to rent the unit out for a month. That's another $150, $200. So we have to think about those expenses up front and say, okay, so if we're gonna spend that extra money, now my top I can bid on this is, maybe 300, 400, because I don't want to overbid and then not have the money to do the other things I need to do.
Right.
Which I've seen people do that.
We have not done that. Like I said, I always have like 2 or 3 prices ahead just in case for that.
Awesome, Shorty. Have
Thank you
fun making the Christmas party.
Man, now she makes me want to have some Christmas cookies and stuff.
200 Jello shots for game day.
Oh, cool. Which game day? What kind of game day?
It's Funday football.
Oh, yeah. You do it every week? Wow.
Chiefs.
Oh, your chefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Not your Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas has
City
been
Chiefs.
Pretty good.
I don't know.
At times.
I've never watched football.
Oh, that's cool.
The only reason I went to football games in high school was because I was required to, because I was in the band.
Well, at least you've never cheered for the other team, which I've been known to do.
Yeah, if I go into a game, I know who I'm cheering for.
Well, I know who I'm cheering for. It's just that I thought our team had the ball and it was actually the other team. I don't know. They must have
That's cool.
So I was not paying attention. So I must just I wasn't paying attention at that time. I was talking. So I guess they must have recovered the ball from us because I thought we had the ball. And then I jumped up and started yelling for the other team. And they were like, Jessica, sit down. You're going to get us killed. Yeah, it happens. I know what happens during I just so happened to thought that we still had the ball and we didn't. I guess they must have.
Football's boring to me. I don't get it. I
intercepted.
Never did get it.
It must have intercepted the ball.
But I am a non-sports person, and especially high school sports can be okay. College sports I get. I've just never understood why we spend millions of dollars on professional sports.
And then what does he get? He gets a son who loves all the sports.
Yeah, now I've got a son who wants to be the sports person. He loves baseball. He loves the hockey. His first toy was baseball.
I know, it's hilarious.
And I'm not a sports guy, and he's like, people are like, oh, you need to teach him how to play. It's like, I don't even know how to play. How am I going to teach him?
And he does. He loves baseball.
I mean, yeah, we play catch and we'll throw
football. He'll sit down like a little, and he's only 5.
He gets mad. He likes hockey.
Yep, he likes hockey.
We'll watch hockey.
Yeah, I think that's.
But I never got into sports.
That's my fault.
I've never been a big fan of sports.
Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks. He saw.
He was watching the Mighty Ducks on the Disney Channel.
And now he goes around with the hockey stick, and there's an egg, and he has to have an egg for the hockey puck.
30 seconds left on the giveaway. Y'all get in.
Yeah, get in the giveaway. There's only 2 people. There's 4 of y'all. Get in here. What is the giveaway, anyways?
Whatever random item I pick up and put in the giveaway.
That doesn't help.
It's a random storage unit item giveaway.
Hey, guys, look at this. This is something he picked up.
No, that's not the giveaway, y'all.
No, that's not the giveaway.
That's too heavy.
But that's something he picked up.
Yeah, these are cool. Yeah. They're like plaster wall hangers. But this lady had a thing for
Jordy! Congratulations!
Yep. We ran these on the last show though, nobody bought them. But we'll run them again.
And if they don't run, I'll keep them.
We found a lot of dragonflies and owls in this last unit that we just cleaned out. That one that we got for the 24-hour show. We found a ton of dragonfly stuff, jewelry, wall hanging.
The owls didn't sell.
And we found a lot of owl stuff.
That was sad.
Some of the owl stuff sold. Some
of it didn't. But the cup, the measuring cups and stuff, those were gorgeous.
Yeah. It's weird because
they were gorgeous too.
Some of us because we're a small show. Some of us because we're such a small channel. We don't have that big of a following. We don't have that many people coming to our shows sometimes. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. And I'm cool. But a lot of that's my consistency of not showing up consistently every week, which we're trying to work on. And we're trying to work on a schedule where I can run at least 3 or 4 shows a week. And I'm like, I need to consistently show up once a week.
And then this is the other thing.
I see stuff like that.
His head too.
Well, I'm fighting my head. I'm fighting.
He gets
issues. Getting my focus on.
Yeah. He's got really bad ADHD, so sometimes his focus isn't really on certain. So yes.
Yeah, but I got the dragonfly stuff. We got some of it, but it's weird because I have so many. The thing is like it's not all I've got. I've got so much other stuff. I mean, I've done book shows, and we sold like 2 or 3 books. I've got cases and cases of books. And I'm fixing to start doing box lots of books just to get rid of them if anybody wants them. In fact, I have random box lots in the Buy It Now.
He's got crafting stuff, like a whole bunch of crafting
I've got tons of crafting stuff. And it's funny because I get people coming in asking for stuff, and then when we find it and we sell it or show it, and then it's like, where's the people that were asking for it?
That happens sometimes. But anyways, guys, we're gonna go ahead, Shorty. We're gonna let you go because we know you got to cook. So
yeah, we're gonna go. I got to get ready and run over to our storage facility where we're gonna run today. Mainly because I have a bunch of stuff here, but most of it I've already run in the last few shows.
I'll try to catch you. I've only been able to catch 2 or 3 people. But if I see you on, I'll make sure. Just remember though, you can't assume that it's only CTX Scavenger on there because I've been known to hijack.
Sometimes she's hijacking my channel.
I'm hijacking his channel, so you might want to ask who it is. See who. We're about to raid out, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna raid out. We're gonna go see Locker Ballers. They've only got 4 people in their show. Y'all get over there and say good morning, and we'll see y'all in just a couple of hours.